It's a brand new month, and I hope you're really feeling motivated to lean into your goals and to create more of that balance I know you've been craving. Because let's be real, balance isn't just about managing your time, it's about who you surround yourself with and the energy that they bring to your life. And one of the most important relationships that impacts your balance is the one you have with your spouse or partner. Now, I say partner because that's exactly what Russ is to me. He's my teammate in life, always by my side. Well, figuratively, because otherwise that would be a little weird. But he's my biggest supporter, an amazing dad, and total bonus, he loves to cook. Seriously, I totally lucked out. But here's the thing, even if you have a great relationship, there's always room to strengthen that connection. And a strong marriage or partnership, it isn't just about love, it's about intention, communication, and really making that space for each other to grow. So, today we're diving into my tips for building a stronger relationship with your partner, one that not only helps you feel more connected, but actually makes balancing life, work, and being a mom so much easier. And speaking of balance, one of the things I've done for both my marriage and my personal sanity is carving out intentional time for myself. And as much as I love spending time with Russ and the kids, my morning routine is seriously my secret space. The time when the house is quiet, everyone's still sleeping, and I get to focus on myself without feeling pulled in a million different directions and without guilt. And that's why I'm sharing my Mornings Made Simple guide with you for free. It's packed with simple shifts that will help you create a more peaceful, productive morning so you can actually start your day feeling calm instead of completely overwhelmed. So grab your free copy in the show notes and let's get into today's episode. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work and time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, mom of three, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. Let's be honest, when you're juggling work, kids, laundry, dishes, meal planning, and your own sanity, your relationship with your spouse can sometimes take a backseat. You love them, of course you do, but sometimes it feels like you're just passing ships in the night or worse. I've heard some people say they feel like roommates who are just really good at co-parenting and haven't really had a real meaningful conversation in weeks. So today we're talking about real, practical ways to strengthen your marriage, to reconnect, and to get on the same page without having to go on a 5-day getaway to some romantic resort. Although, if you could do that, highly recommend it. But let's be real, not everyone can do that. So let's dive in. Number one, prioritize time together, even in small ways. And I know what you're thinking. We barely have time to eat dinner in the same place, let alone schedule date nights. I hear you, but quality time doesn't have to mean big, elaborate plans. It's about the intentionality. So here's what it could look like: a 10-minute check in every night. You put your phones away and just ask, how was your day? Turning errands into mini dates. Maybe grab a coffee together while you're out grocery shopping, or a quick lunch while you run to Home Depot. Watching a show you both love instead of scrolling on your phones on opposite sides of the couch, or even just going to bed at the same time a few nights a week. The key is consistency over quantity. Those little moments of connection can add up to way more than just that one big date night you go on every couple of months. Although I do highly recommend date nights. We do try to do some sort of date activity outside of the house once a month, but my one-on-one time at Russ is one of my non-negotiables. I make sure we make time for each other every week. I walk him to the train on the 3 days he goes to the office. We use that time to chat, align on the day. And I always make sure I give him a kiss goodbye before we part ways and I go on the rest of my morning walk. So find little ways that you can spend one-on-one time together. Number two, communicate openly and honestly. And I know everyone says communication is key, but what does that actually mean? Well, it's not just about talking. It's about talking in a way that actually strengthens your relationship. And here's what I mean. Instead of assuming they know what you need, spoiler alert, most men don't, say it out loud. Like, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed this week. Can we figure out how to lighten the load together? Instead of bottling up frustrations until you explode over something minor, address things calmly before that whole resentment builds up. And if you feel like your conversation always turns into an argument, Approach tough topics like you're on the same team, not opposing sides. Instead of saying, you never help with the kids, try, I feel really overwhelmed and I'd love for us to figure out a better way to handle the evenings together. Like I said, marriage is a partnership. Your words shape your relationship. So let's make sure you're building it up instead of tearing it down and choose the right time to have the conversations. This is so key. If they just walked in the door, let them get settled. Possibly eat dinner before you jump into any topic, unless it's a good one. Everyone wants to hear good news. Number 3, learn each other's love languages. Listen, you could be showing love all day long, but if it's not in the way your partner receives love, it might not be landing. I highly recommend the book, The 5 Love Languages: How to Express Heartfelt Commitments to Your Mate. I know that's a long title, but it's by Gary Chapman. I think they also now have one that's geared towards learning your kids' love languages too, so you could check that one out as well. But if you've ever felt like you're doing so much for your spouse, but they don't seem to notice, that might mean because you're speaking your love language and not theirs. The 5 love languages are: 1, words of affirmation. That means they feel loved when you express appreciation or encouragement. The second one is acts of service. That's when they feel loved when you actually do something for them, like making their coffee or running an errand or cleaning the toilet. Number 3 is quality time. That's when they feel loved through focus, undistracted time together. Number 4 is physical touch. That's when they feel loved through affection, like hugs, holding hands, back rubs, a nice massage. And number 5 is gifts, when they feel love through material things and surprises. And don't get me wrong, this does not have to be expensive, but find out what your partner's love language is and start showing love in a way that actually fills their cup. And trust me, it is a game changer. Russ knows that my love language is acts of service and my least favorite is gifts. Like, don't buy me anything unless it's concert tickets or a vacation. I will totally take those any day. But buying gifts actually has the opposite effect on me. I get annoyed that he spent money on me. I'm laughing because in December, he went to Trader Joe's with Michael and they came home with this purple orchid that now sits on my desk to surprise me. And they put it on the dining room table. And I came home and I was like, what is this? First of all, it clashed with all of my red Christmas decorations. And 2, if I were ever to actually buy myself an orchid, it would be a white one. But it was also random and I'm trying to declutter. And it's just another thing that I had to find space for. And I didn't hide my reaction well. And I should have totally been grateful. And I know I sound like a totally terrible person right now. But my point is, know your partner. He knows I don't like gifts. But I also know that his love language is words of affirmation. So my reaction did not show any love, although I don't know anyone would have taken it as love because I was like, thanks. But anyway, this week he changed a toilet seat for me and I was the absolute happiest girl in the world. I gave him a big hug and a kiss and I was so grateful. See, the acts of service, that's what lights me up. He even cleaned the toilet in the process. So double bonus right there. So you hear how excited I got over a toilet seat than a flower. I know, I'm weird. But anyway, that's my point. Learn each other's love languages and express it in a language that they could fully appreciate. Number 4, get on the same page about the big stuff. This is so important. If you and your spouse have ever argued about money, parenting, household responsibilities, or future plans, this one is for you. One of the biggest stressors in a marriage is feeling like you're not aligned on the big things. So here's what I recommend. Have a regular kind of State of the Union check-in. Maybe once a month, sit down and talk about what's working, what's not working, parenting, finances, and really just where you want to go in life. Get clear on goals as a family. Are you both on the same page of what kind of life you're building? Do you share financial priorities? Are you aligned on how you want to raise your kids? And if you don't agree, instead of arguing, try to understand where the other person is coming from. Ask what's most important to you about this and really listen to the answer. When you and your spouse feel like a team, everything in life gets so much easier. This is something we are really being intentional about this month. I'm trying to plan a weekend retreat away just for the 2 of us with some fun, but to really get alignment. He doesn't know this yet, but I made an agenda and we're going to map out some things and really start getting better with budgeting because we really have some big decisions coming up. Like college is one of the biggest ones, trying to figure out a budget for that. And any of my mamas out there that have college kids and are starting the process, big hugs going out to you. I just refuse to take on any more college debt or let my kids go into debt. I've shared before that Russ graduated with over $120,000 in student loans, and that was 23 years ago. It was a lot to pay off while trying to start a life, buy a house, get married, start a family. And if you haven't already started planning for your kids' colleges, for retirement, for all those later in life expenses, please start now. 529s are where it's at for college. We started them young, but we wish we were a little bit more aggressive with putting money in them. Anyway, that was a huge tangent, but these are the things that you need to align on. Finances are one of the biggest things I see couples fight about. Number 5, don't let your friendship die. At the end of the day, your spouse should be your best friend. Yes, romance is part of it, but so is having fun together. Ask yourself, when was the last time you laughed together? Like, really laughed? Maybe you need to bring back the inside jokes from when you were dating. Maybe you need to play a silly game together. Maybe you need to do something totally unexpected, try a new restaurant, take a dance class, or just be goofy together. We recently took a cooking class together and it was so much fun. I can honestly say that Russ is my absolute best friend. He really knows me better than I know myself, and he makes me laugh like no one else. Marriage isn't just about bills and kids, work and responsibilities. It's about connection. So don't let that friendship fade. Number 6, show appreciation as much as you can, even for the small things. It's so easy to get caught up in what's not getting done and where your partner might be falling short. But when was the last time you genuinely thanked them? We all want to feel appreciated. And sometimes we just assume our partner knows how much we value them. But especially if their love language is words of affirmations, like I said, is Russ's, you have to show it. And here's what it could look like: a simple, "Hey, I appreciate you making coffee this morning," can go a long way. Or leave a sticky note with a sweet or funny message in their lunch or on a mirror. Or send a random text in the middle of the day just saying, "I love and appreciate you. Thanks for doing whatever they did that day." Or even just, "Thanks for being you." So instead of pointing out what they didn't do, like, "Why didn't you put the dishes away?" point out what they did do, like, "Thanks for helping put the kids to bed." When appreciation is consistent, it really becomes a habit that can strengthen your connection, and they might also start reciprocating. So, double bonus. Number 7, touch base on your stress levels. One of the biggest relationship killers is unspoken stress. We're all carrying something, whether it's work pressure, parent exhaustion, financial worries, or just general life overwhelm. But when we don't communicate our stress, it can show up as short tempers, disconnection, resentment. So try this. Ask each other weekly, what's been stressing you out the most lately? Or offer support instead of solutions. Sometimes we just need to be heard. And check in before busy weeks to try to figure out how you can lighten each other's load. If you're not already doing weekly planning sessions, which I really hope you are at this point, that's the perfect time to talk about this stuff. I was in a serious funk last week. I was stressed about work. I felt really stuck in the side business. It was also my dad's birthday. He passed away 5 years ago, but that day is always a little hard for me. We watched a movie that triggered some things for me, and then all the political stuff on Facebook. It was just mentally a bad week, and I wasn't in a good place. But because we have great communication, I was able to share that with Russ. And being the supportive husband he is, he tried to plan a night away for us because we really do need it. But there's just way too much going on. And honestly, when I thought about what would really cheer me up this weekend, it was painting the chairs in our family room. If you follow me on social, you may have seen that one of the things I love to do is paint furniture, taking old pieces and bringing them to new life. Well, we've had these Pottery Barn chairs that we actually bought from the people who owned our last house. So we bought them used and we've had them for probably 15 years now. Wow, sorry, that just hit me how long ago that was. They're all chipped and scratched, but they're solid wood. And if you've tried to buy solid wood chairs anytime recently, they are just ridiculously expensive. So they have been on my painting list since we've moved to New Jersey, probably 9 years ago. And now that I've slowly been making over my family room, I really want to incorporate them, but they are just in need of some serious love. And getting them painted and seeing them looking all nice and pretty and new when I walk in the room would really just make me smile. So that's what we're doing as our one-on-one activity for the weekend. I will be so happy about it. That was a seriously long tangent, but my point is, when you're both aware of what the other is carrying, it creates a team mentality instead of that tension. Russ knew I was having a rough week, so he accepted my not so great mood and really tried to do what he could to cheer me up. And I do the same for him. Luckily, we take turns being in not so good moods. Number 8, apologize when you mess up. And most importantly, actually mean it. Let's be real. We all mess up. We snap when we're tired. We forget to do something we said we do. We misread a situation and get defensive. But a strong marriage isn't about being perfect. It's about owning it when you're not. So here's some ways to apologize and actually mean it. Don't say, "I'm sorry if I upset you." That's a totally fake apology. Say, I'm sorry that I snapped at you earlier. That wasn't fair to you. Don't ever say, I said I was sorry. What else do you want me to do? Say, I know I hurt you and I'll do my best to be more mindful next time. Isn't that a nicer way to put it? I'm actually perfect and never mess up, so I really can't help you out this one. Totally kidding. I'm so not perfect. But I can honestly say, Russ and I have never really fought. We've gotten frustrated, not really with each other, more frustrated with a situation, especially around parenting teenagers, because I'm not going to lie, mamas, it gets tough sometimes, especially if you have a strong willed kid. It can drain your energy and your patience. So there are moments when my frustration levels are so high. And there have been instances where I do snap at him, but I'm so aware of it. And I always apologize. Apologies without the defensiveness or excuses really helps build that trust and connection. Number 9, have your own individual interests. Here's something that's not really talked about enough. You don't have to do everything together. You might want to do everything together. You really shouldn't. Yes, quality time matters, but so does maintaining your own identity. And we tend to lose sight of that, especially when we become moms. So encourage each other to pursue hobbies, whether it's a book club, working out, or learning something new. Give each other some guilt-free time to do things solo. And I know this one can be hard, but it's so important. Maybe go out for a girls' night or encourage him to go out for a guys' night. Even a trip. It took me until my late 30s to find a solid group of girlfriends, and it wasn't until my 40s that I went on my first girls' trip. Well, my really only girls' trip. We went to Vegas. It was my first time there. We went for a friend's birthday, and we went to see Usher, which was absolutely amazing. Russ went on a guys' trip that year. He went to the Poconos. They rented a house for the weekend. And listen, I hate it when he's away. I would rather us go somewhere together and spend the money on us, but it's what really makes a healthy marriage. And when he's away, I make sure I'm doing something for me or even planning to do something with the kids. Lately, it's been a date night with Michael because the girls are just way too busy for their mom these days. And this last one, I am all about. Cheer each other on when you're growing individually because that really strengthens your relationship. I couldn't do this podcast if Russ wasn't so supportive. He knows what it means to me. He sees how happy it makes me. And he even started offering suggestions on how to grow the podcast. I'm not sure if he actually listens to the podcast, though. I'm sure I'll know after this episode. And last but not least, number 10, laugh through the chaos. Sometimes the best way to handle stress is to just laugh at it. The kids spilled the milk again. Your dinner burned because you got distracted. You run out of gas while at a light at one of the busiest intersections in town. Yeah, that's a true story. And I'm totally guilty of it. I guess I have to share the story now. So it was a pretty busy road in town, and there was actually already one lane blocked off by construction. So there were a couple of cops directing traffic. I stopped at the light, and then the car just shut down. I had no clue what was happening. The cop came over and looked at my gas gauge, and he was so not happy with me and gave me such a look and was like, "You ran out of gas." I was so embarrassed. Luckily, I was only a few blocks away from home, and double luckily, Russ was working from home that day, so he was my complete hero. He ran to the gas station, he got gas, and between him and one of the cops, they figured out how to funnel it in. The cop ended up being great, but he totally gave me a lecture that was totally backed by his frustration of his own wife and her never filling the gas tank. And Russ had every right to be mad at me because he tells me all the time to check the gas. And he actually had to get off of an important work call to come rescue me. And mind you, this whole time there is another cop that had to direct two-way traffic on one lane because I was blocking the turning lane. It was a hot mess, but we laughed our way through it. And now it's a really funny memory. And I learned my lesson to always check the gas light. So instead of letting frustration win in a situation, try to find the humor in life's ridiculous moments. When you can laugh through the messiness of life, you're choosing connection over conflict. I really hope that this episode gave you some fresh, practical ways to strengthen your relationship with your partners. I also wanted to give you a challenge for the week. Pick one of these tips and actually do it. Plan a small, intentional moment of quality time. Maybe show a little extra appreciation today. Check in on each other's stress levels. That's so important. If something happened, apologize for it. But most importantly, laugh about something instead of getting frustrated. And if you do any of these things, I would love to know how it goes. Send me a DM, tag me in your stories if you post about it, or come on over and tell me in our Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. And if you don't already follow the show, take a second and hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes, and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories, and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life. Or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.